Hey everyone, I'm Danz Reviewz, and this is my review of Black Panther. Directed by Ryan Coogler and starring Chadwick Boseman, Danai Guriri, I'm terrible at saying names, Michael B. Jordan, amongst many others, Lupita Nyong'o, Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett. There's so many people in this movie. Andy Serkis. Why do I do this to myself every single time? Why must I list everyone in this movie? This is the entire cast of the movie. They acted in this movie right now. You're reading their names, and I'm gonna stop now. I very much enjoyed this movie. It's not too often I get too far into a movie and I think, man, these characters are really gelling well.
You gelling? You know I'm gelling. Hey, Ellen, you gelling?
Yeah, boy!
Just as characters, the actors together create this like really great chemistry that, you know, you can show characters having a good time and getting along, and that you might not necessarily be pulled into that.
I'm gelling.
You're not gelling.
But in this movie, you are.
You want some melon?
Nah, but hey, I'm like mud gelling. I'm so gelling.
I don't know what it is about these Marvel movies. They really tend to create really great character interaction that's entertaining to watch, and I totally buy as a viewer. Despite being shown and introduced to so much in this movie, it all felt really natural. It all really kind of fell down into place very well the way it all unfolds. The movie really kind of just starts off and throws you right into it, and I didn't really find that confusing. The only thing that was kind of confusing me was when I was trying to pay attention to what was going on, and there was this group of teenagers next to me. They had a something to say out loud towards the whole theater every single time one trailer ended. Like Ant-Man and Wasp, one of them went,
"What is happening with movies?"
They continued to laugh, and then after the Solo trailer came on, they're like,
Okay, that looks better.
I don't need this. And you mocked the don't talk part of the warning that comes before the movie starts. They mocked it, and then they were talking during the opening. Luckily, they ended up shutting up. People shushed them. It wasn't that much of an issue. Plus, they seemed to kind of tone down themselves. I think they realized that they were bothering other people. That was the only thing that kind of threw me off in the beginning. I was like, I'm trying to... There's things happening right now, and I'd like to understand what's happening, because this is setting up the movie, okay? Inconsiderate people. But I'm happy to report that Black Panther was good, on top of my review of the audience. The main villain of the movie is kind of introduced early on in this really entertaining scene, but then he just kind of disappears for a while. But that's not even a problem so much, because we get to spend a lot more time with the characters and kind of establish a lot of the individual kind of things of this universe. Wakanda is very well realized. It has its own history. It has, and you feel it. The opening of the movie does the thing. Luckily, it does it at the beginning of the movie, because I don't like it when they just stop the movie to explain everything. So luckily, we did get the explanation at the very opening of the movie. But do you ever notice that, though? Like, movies seem to break down, and particularly Marvel and DC movies seem to do this thing where they just stop. You have, like, Ego explaining his stuff in Guardians 2, Russell Crowe explaining stuff to Superman in Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, you have the same thing with that. Movies seem to stop and show an animatic for a little bit. It's kind of like the Deathly Hallows. I think maybe that's where it started. Is that where they started to do that? It's just a trend I've noticed. The movie, I really like the way it kind of deals with isolationism, and there's just a lot of really relevant things to talk about with the Black Panther movie, where you have this Wakandan nation that people don't know is as technologically advanced as it is, and they could be doing all this great for the world, but they're staying within their own thing, within their own cliques, within their own thing, when they could be doing good amongst the world. I'm one of those hippy-dippy whatever. We all should be in the Federation, fast forward a couple hundred years, and let's all just work together and try to better the universe. Wouldn't that be great? Anyway, hi, I'm Dan. The movie kind of touches upon those types of themes, and those really speak to me, and I think are very important to talk about in movies. There's a lot of historical things that are brought up with this movie, specifically around slavery and, you know, the white man colonizing the world, the colonizer. Anyway, there's a lot of different things that the movie touches on. There's no point where it's like, it never feels out of place. It feels like it has place in this story, and I enjoyed that a lot. Seeing this in IMAX, there were some really great expanded IMAX scenes. There was only a couple times where I kind of realized, oh crap, it just went from this really great, grand, epic sequence, and then went back to the bars for the next scene, because it expands the IMAX ratio at points. Holy crap, was the action just insane in this movie. There was some really great moments when there was action. I wouldn't say it's an incredibly actiony movie, but it's kind of like Wonder Woman in the sense of, dispersion of action. I don't think there was an incredible amount of action, but when there was action, it was popping. There's some really great sequences earlier on that just had me going, like, a couple times. Like, I love when there's just a really well-realized action sequence that's not just a bland action sequence that they've not put any thought into or effort into. There was an unbroken shot action sequence that, when you do that, you set yourself up for potential failure. It succeeded here, but it wasn't seamless. I could tell there were cuts, and I could tell when the cuts were happening, because it would just, kind of pan off, and then something would pass the screen, and it's like, oh, there's a cut just happened. So, it's not incredibly seamless, but at the same time, you could just imagine how well choreographed it all had to be. The only thing that I noticed was the cuts, not necessarily that the action or anything was thrown off. The action itself that they were filming was great, but when you cheat to kind of make it a one-shot thing, but you shoot it across a week and you're cutting between a bunch of different shots, despite it all being one camera motion. A single shot shouldn't call attention to itself so much. I think, as an audience member, I'll start to notice if the shot's been going on particularly long, but that one called attention to itself really early on because I could see the cuts that were happening. It's kind of like the Avengers thing, where it's going between, you could tell it's just actors on a green screen pulling away to a shot that's a different shot, actors on a green screen, but it's still very cool to see realized. But it was a little, I don't know, it didn't fully ring authentic to me, especially at the end of it, because there was this like CGI cache that went everywhere to kind of end the scene. I liked it, but I didn't like it. Half of me liked it, half of me didn't like it. I think the ultimate execution of it was great, but a little fudgy. But right after that, it has a really great car chase that I don't think I've seen a car chase quite like that, and was also really great. So the movie had this kind of Bondish element that I really, really liked. It felt like T'Challa's sister was kind of like his cue. She's, one coming up with all that gadgets and everything, but also at the same time is very kind of the comic relief slash, I don't know, it's not even just comic relief. I think she just has a great personality slash just vibe about her. She's the kid sister character, so when you can kind of combine that Q character with the kid sister character, I think it works really, really well, because I'm someone who grew up with two older sisters, one younger sister, and an older brother, so I know about family and family squabbling and picking on each other and all that stuff, and it always makes me laugh when I see that in movies. Well done, at least. There are times where it's just like, oh my god, just shut. I don't want annoying sister. That's not even annoying. Like, she wasn't annoying sister, yet they had their little things, but it was all playful, and it was all sibling rivalry. There's a lot to be said about this movie and the feeling of kind of togetherness, like a nation, like a pride in one's where one is from, but at the same time, back to that isolationism stuff. Pride in yourself, pride in where you came from, but also being willing to accept others as well. That old gem.
Don't freeze. I never freeze. Ever. Not even at the end of Civil War, where I was sitting in the snow. It was cold, but I did not freeze.
Black Panther can't freeze. Chadwick Boseman killed it as T'Challa. He was really, really great. Even in Gods of Egypt, one of the worst. See, that's bad. It's so bad it's good one, though. And also Gerard Butler. He seems to be the king of those. Gerard Butler's entertaining as hell in Gods of Egypt. Chadwick Boseman seems to just go all in whatever he's in. I haven't really seen him in too much. I know he's done a lot of biopics. I haven't seen any of them. I wanted to see him. It seems like any sort of kind of black biopic movie, Chadwick Boseman was your go-to man. But I haven't really seen him too much outside of Gods of Egypt, sadly. Him and Michael B. Jordan as well. I'm glad that actors who have been in comic book movies previously can kind of have a chance to redeem themselves, because we've had two different Human Torches in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point. It's just always kind of funny to me, the double dipping that goes on, or triple dipping, or in Chris Evans' point, quadruple sextuple dipping. Ooh, I want a sextuple dip with Chris Evans. Anyway, the music in the movie was really, really good. I got some Lion King-y vibes from parts of the kind of more orchestral score, and this isn't the movie's fault, but I had literally just listened to the District 9 theme, that like the that one, and there's a lot of cues in the movie, throughout the movie, that start with that and it was just like, in my head, I'm expecting Charlton Copley to walk out and be like, "Fucking prunes, man," but he doesn't, and I was very disappointed. They even mentioned Joburg at one point, so yeah, take you down to Joburg. So yeah, you know, that was in my head a lot. So I would say definitely a lot more of an identifiable score. Music was really great. I have to get that soundtrack and give it a listen. And this is actually kind of a cool thing. I got a poster signed by the visual director of the movie, the art director of the movie. I think it said Art and Visuals. Did it say Art and Visuals? I saw his name in the credits. Ryan Meinerding? I'm saying your name way wrong, so I'm sorry. But Ryan had done a giveaway on his Twitter, because I follow a lot of different art people who do stuff for DC and Marvel movies, because I love art. Art is amazing. But he was doing a giveaway for a signed Comic-Con poster, and I won. So it's right here. I haven't gotten it framed yet, and I'm very, very sad about that, but it needs to get framed, and it's very, very, very effing awesome, and I will be gladly putting that next to my Stan Lee poster, signed poster that I have. I told him how I would do that, and I think it would be very, very, very fitting to go next to it. All right, I'm going to get into spoilers now, just because there's a couple things I want to talk about in this movie. Andy Serkis is he the new Sean Bean? Is that what's happening here? Andy Serkis, are you the new Sean Bean? It seems like you die in everything nowadays. What's going on? I was so sad when they killed Claw in this movie. I thought he was so good in Age of Ultron. I thought he was good in this. He was really, really funny. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more Claw. He could have just kept coming back. Please, why? You killed off 2 bad guys. The only bad guys we have set up for the Black Panther universe so far. You killed Claw, you killed Killmonger at the end as well. People bring up the whole video game kind of battle fight scene sometimes with the superhero movies, and this one I got those vibes towards the end with the skirmish that's going on between Killmonger, who partners up with Daniel Kaluuya's character, because of the whole Claw stuff, because his father was killed by Claw, and he wanted Black Panther to bring Claw to justice and all that stuff, and he couldn't do it, but Killmonger could, so he's joining up with him. It all makes sense that Claw's death stuff, I guess, but I didn't want to see him go. I love Andy Serkis. Anyway, Killmonger's standing there in his new golden Black Panther suit at the end, and is just standing there talking, doing his video game bad guy stuff. Just like, there's a point where it just seemed ridiculous that it was still going on. Him just standing there on the thing. Did anybody else get that? But that was the only point that really kind of like sent up a flag in my brain. There weren't really too many other points where it was like, this is a little, it's going on a little long. Okay, moving along a little bit. You're kind of getting a little cheesy here. But luckily the movie doesn't really do that too much. There's a lot of dark, tragic stuff in this movie. I mean, a lot of that stuff with Eric is really messed up. Him having to grow up without a father. I could see this as a character who has been obviously to very dark places for the amount of people he's killed, with all those notches. He's killed a lot of people. So he has a very, very dark sensibility about him. And in one of the last scene we see him in, he says that, back when, slaves were being brought to America, he would have been one of the slaves to jump from the ship. And it was just, this movie went to some places that I feel like, not to an uncomfortable point, but to just like a real point. Just to a really, like, this movie was real, and I appreciated that at points. And I just absolutely love the sentiment of the movie at the end, where they set up the outreach center in Oakland, and that was so good. So yeah, that's all my thoughts on Black Panther. I thought this movie was really, really great. I think it's a really great gem for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Definitely recommend it. Go to see it if you haven't. You don't really need to be super caught up on all the Marvel stuff. I mean, there's some prerequisite viewing, not really required because they show it in the movie, but you know, being caught up is always good. And a lot of it streams a lot of places, right? So, as always, let me know what you think of the movie in the comments below. I'll be checking them out. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't. I'm doing more movie reviews and all that stuff in the future. So, check out the stuff here on the channel. Alright, I'm not going to sing at the end of every video, so have a good one, y'all. Bye.